I'm interested in befriending. I've done it with a number of organisations over a few years, and then because at least two of the people I've tried to support have alcohol dependency, that seemed interesting to me to do that. I think it's true to say that the Rowan Albert, the Costa guy, we'll call him the Costa guy. I think probably, I mean, he was a particularly interesting character who had a whole life of tragedies in his life. It was interesting. He was a very different character than anybody else that I'd met in this respect. Yeah, he was a very spiritual person. It took a while. Apart from the phone support I'd given through COVID with people, I'd used to visiting people in their houses, and I quite liked that because you get a sense of them. But he wasn't keen on that because he liked to go out. And also, because he was a pretty committed smoker, it was really quite difficult for me to visit him. But it was okay. So pretty much we always met in cafes, usually outside so you could smoke. We went from one to another to another. We ended up in Costa in the Kirkgate with quite a lot of laughter, and that was quite important. And could laugh about the incongruity of life and why the choices that we make and how ludicrous they can be seen as, and how difficult or painful they can be seen as. So he got his terminal diagnosis back in the, I don't know, February or something like that. I didn't prompt him. Like, I would just ask him, so how's it been this week? I mean, I think amongst all older people now, you kind of joke about, what's your latest bloody medical stuff? It becomes almost a thing that you almost ask. I almost ask all my friends, but so that was as much as I would say. And then that would be for him to tell me what he chose to tell me. So that felt important. He'd taken quite a few photographs on his phone, and he wanted to know if we, Rowan Albert, could put together an album for him. And I had quite a lot of discussion with yourself and Michaela and with Sam about how to do that. Like, he really wanted to print them out himself, and that involved getting a printer and all that. It was too complicated and expensive. So I spent some time going through his phone and sending them to Sam, and who then organised just from Snapfish to send them to him. And he was really thrilled with that. Was really, really thrilled with that. As I sent photographs to Sam, he then gave me a spiel about what this photograph, the background of it. So that was he then had those photographs. And that was great. That was terrific. He loved it. I loved it. It was great. Just towards the very end of his life, and against his doctor's advice, went back to his hometown and met with his family and took photographs, and we did those as well. And he got those just before he died, and they were great as well. So that was important. Yeah. I was incredibly happy that he made it to go and visit his family. He'd left his country of origin when he was 30, and he died at 64. And he told me quite a lot about it, about why he left his country of origin and where he'd been. But he'd been living in Scotland for 25 years. He had a partner here. He referred to this woman as his girlfriend, and that was very relevant. That was very important. And there was his Scottish life. His family had wanted him to stay with them in blah-de-blah, but he wanted to come back to Scotland and die. It is tough dealing with people dying, and I think that, as Michaela pointed out, people with alcohol dependency have got high mortality, morbidity issues or rates than maybe the average sample of the population. So that's a thing that is relevant. Michaela's been very helpful with this, because she's had those experiences herself. She says if she remembers, I think she said, how many? 7, I think she said. I remember all of them. And so having that discussion with somebody within the organisation that's important. That's been important, helpful. My experience has been beyond my expectations, because I'm not just with the befriending work, but since I stopped being in business quite a long time ago now, 12, 13 years ago, I've worked in quite a lot of voluntary organisations, and the level of support and attention that Rowan Albert have given me has really surpassed anything else that I've experienced.